Hello, how you doing, Coach?
This is Jason Light, GM in Tampa. How you doing?
I'm great, man. I'm just watching the draft right now.
Bucs fans, my Fear the Bay Gunners, welcome back to another episode of The Search here on Fear the Bay. I'm your host, Danny Morales, and we're going to wrap up the defensive side of the ball today, at least for now, because we've done the interior defenders, we've broken down the edge rushers, we've done the inside linebackers, the cornerbacks. Now we're going to wrap it up with the safeties in the backfield back there. As always, I'm going to give you my favorite day one, day two, day three best fits at the position of focus. And that position, of course, today is the safety position. Right now, if the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were to enter the season with the players who would be under contract, of course, you have your two starting safeties. They're locked in. You have Antoine Winfield Jr., a pillar all-pro safety. And you have Tyke Smith, who was really solid last year, his first full year at safety, moving him from the nickel to the safety position. Did really good for himself. Christian Izien is not under contract right now. So Christian Izien is a restricted free agent. And at the time of this recording, the Buccaneers decided not to extend a tender to him, which would be coming up about $3.5 million. They decided not to tender him. So unless they re-sign him before March 9th at noon, he's available to go negotiate with all other 31 teams. And he's a pretty important depth piece. He's a safe player. You can trust him. He can play nickel. He can play any of the two safety positions. He can even play outside cornerback if you need him to in a pinch. You could plug him and play him anywhere. And you could trust Christian Izien to be serviceable and solid for you. He's not really starter worthy, I would say, right now, because the Buccaneers have better defensive players. But if he needed to start, you fully trust him. And you just know Christian Izien is going to do his job. He's kind of like a lunch pail kind of guy. He's going to do whatever you need him to do. He's going to do it to the best of his ability. Now, with him possibly leaving the Buccaneers, and again, at this point of the recording, he has not been re-signed yet. Anything could change in the next coming days. But J.J. Roberts would be that probably third safety in the room. J.J. Roberts is a guy that Jason Light, I know, is very high on. He says he essentially feels like he's getting another draft pick, a bonus draft pick this year with J.J. Roberts coming back. If you remember in OTAs and training camp, Todd Bowles essentially said J.J. Roberts is fast. He runs like a cornerback, and he can hit you like a safety. They're really high on J.J. Roberts, high IQ football guy as well. We'll see what he can do come training camp, come preseason. But right now, he's probably that third safety in the room. But this is a very deep safety class. You have guys who you can find really nice, serviceable players, and even in the fifth round. So we're going to break down this safety prospects class today. But this is a very good class, and the top three safeties are really good safeties, and they have extreme positional versatility where you can play them really anywhere you need them, excluding outside corner, of course. But nickel, any of the two safety positions, you can have them in a box. This is a very good class. Now, as always, I break down these players. I tell you my player notes, what I saw on film. I break down their strengths, their weaknesses. We throw up stats up there, PFF stats. So the class average for this safety prospect group, when we look at the top 31 safeties, the average for the overall PFF grade was 76 overall. Their run defense grade was 74. Interceptions, 1.9, just a little under 2. Coverage grade was a 75 overall, the average. And the average missed tackle rate was 14%. And the completion percentage allowed was 65%. So that is the safety room. And then, as always, we also have the elite company. So what I do is I take some of the top tier guys at the position we're focusing on. Today, of course, is safeties. So I'm taking 5 top safeties in the NFL. And I'm going to put their PFF, their final year of college, I'm going to put their PFF averages together. And we see this elite company average where these top 5 safeties, we're going to average them out. We see what their grades were, and we compare them to the players in this year's draft class. So when we look at our elite company group in today's episode, we have Kyle Hamilton of the Baltimore Ravens, really good safety, one of the best in the league, if not the best. Antoine Winfield Jr., you guys know him, of course, in Tampa. Derwin James Jr. of the LA Chargers. You have Minkah Fitzpatrick of the Miami Dolphins, and we have Brian Branch of the Detroit Lions from Alabama. So you have their coverage grade for this elite company average. The coverage grade is an 87 overall. Their run defense grade is an 80. Interceptions, the average between this elite company group is 3. And then their completion percentage allowed is 55.5%. So we have our class average established. We have the elite company group average established. And now let's get into our day one safety prospects. We have 3 top tier, really good safeties that, depending on how the board falls, and how the Buccaneers fill their needs and free agency, maybe one of these guys land in Tampa. Let's get to our day one best fits. We're going to kick this off with Caleb Downs, one of the best overall players in this year's draft class, but there is a health scare, or possibly a health scare. We'll get to that at the end. But Caleb Downs out of Ohio State was the official measurements at the combine came out to 6 foot, 206 pounds. He's a well-built 6 foot, 206 pound safety prospect. For my notes here, he is the best safety prospect in this year's class and one of the best pure talents in the class, in the draft class overall. He's one of the best players, in my opinion, overall in this draft class. True junior and 3-year starter with a total of 2,489 total snaps played. A lot of experience in those 3 years. Been a starter since day number 1, essentially. Has earned an 85 plus overall PFF grade and an 85 plus coverage grade in each one of his college seasons. So since he's been a freshman, his freshman year was at Alabama also. Since he's been a freshman, he has been performing at a very high level. Consistency with Caleb Downs is a thing here. He's consistently performing. You don't have these ups and these downs. He's a consistent player. Played in a pro-style defensive scheme led by Matt Patricia, formerly, of course, Detroit Lions, New England Patriots, most famously at Ohio State here. Acknowledged at the combine that, like many DB prospects, he knows he has to continue to develop as a tackler, specifically when tackling in space and in the box. You're going to notice today, tackling is a very big thing with most of these safety prospects. A lot of them have quite a few missed tackles, and we're going to go through them. Despite having 19 missed tackles over the past 2 seasons, Downs' form when tackling is nice and squared, and he does a good job wrapping up receivers to bring them down. He's a spectacular run defender with great closing speed to run down here. Sometimes you see him just, the defender, like you get the running back just gets like the ball pitched out or something, and he just flies in from deep in his safety position, just flies in behind the line of scrimmage to get down the ball carrier. Really good run defender. So I have here, again, spectacular run defender with great closing speed to run downhill and attack the ball carrier for a minimal gain or a tackle for loss. He's a physical, competitive, and highly instinctive and highly confident DB. Instinctive, high IQ safety, reads, reacts, and attacks quickly and at a high level. Stated at the combine that any team that drafts him is getting a smart player who wants to make an impact not just on the field, but also in the facility as well. He believes he brings the culture change type of, he's that culture change type of guy that if you need a true leader on your team, you need a true culture setter in your team or in your franchise, he's a guy who he believes he can carry the franchise on his back. Very confident, and I like that type of leadership mentality that he has. Tremendous positional versatility. Enters the NFL with a total of 865 snaps played in the box, 920 snaps at free safety, deep, and then 574 snaps from the slot. So really, you got to find a spot for him, but he's gonna produce at whichever spot you have him at. So, for example, the Buccaneers, if he was to land in Tampa with the Buccaneers, maybe you have him at the nickel position, or maybe you have him at the safety position opposite of Antoine Winfield Jr., and you put Tyke Smith back in the nickel. And what you do is you move Jacob Parrish fully to outside if the Buccaneers don't re-sign Jamel Dean. So you bring him in, and you would have an incredible defensive backfield right there with Jacob Parrish, Caleb Downs, Antoine Winfield Jr., and Tyke Smith. That is, if you remember when Darrelle Revis was traded to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you heard the no-fly zone. This would be the official no-fly zone. You would just need Zion McCollum to pick up his play and pick up his confidence as well. But that would be a very dangerous defensive backfield. So easy and productive plug-and-play DB. Downs has all-pro potential written on him. Now, here's the scare. At the combine, according to Corey Kennan of Daft on Draft, Caleb Downs' medical was a little bit questionable here, so I'm going to go through this. So Caleb Downs was flagged at the combine with a partially torn meniscus and possibly a degenerative ACL, which may cause him to slide in the draft. So this is the main injury scare. Like, is this report first off real? If it is, then teams might have a little bit of a concern for him in the top 10 maybe, and maybe he slides down. But if the Buccaneers, their medical team, if they believe that he's going to be okay, he really hasn't missed time throughout his career much. He started all 3 of his seasons, hasn't missed a full season, so it's not like he's been out with a torn ACL, for example. But this injury, the torn meniscus plus the degenerative ACL injury or concern, scare, that might cause him to drop. And depending on how the Tampa Bay Buccaneers attack free agency, I think you still take that chance on Caleb Downs. He's such a smart player. It's like, for example, you think about his IQ is like having 2 Antoine Winfield Jr.'s in the defensive backfield. If I could tell you, you can clone, and I'm not saying he's a perfect player-for-player comp, but if you can clone Antoine Winfield Jr. and have him again, and you have to take him in the first round, I think many people would take that. And I know a lot of Bucs fans are going to say, no, he had a down year. He did have a little bit of a down year, but he's still one of the better safeties in the entire league. And he's only 27 years old. There's a lot of play for him ahead of him. So Caleb Downs is a part of our elite company group in 2 different categories. We have the coverage grade and the run defense grade. So he's in the elite company group when we talk about, again, Brian Branch, Kyle Hamilton, Antoine Winfield Jr., Minka Fitzpatrick, Derwin James Jr. So in terms of his coverage grade, he had an 89.6 coverage grade in 2025. That is 2.8 points above the elite company average. And in terms of run defense, he had an 83.7 run defense grade, which is 3.7 points above the elite company average. So that's Caleb Downs, a highly instinctive, smart. He's a tremendous talent. The injury concern, the degenerative ACL, is that real? Is that just a report that's a bit false? Is it overblown? Is it exaggerated? I mean, we don't get that kind of medical information here as just normal outside, if you're not working for one of these teams, you truly get to see the medical results. But if the Buccaneers feel confident in him and he does slide, I think the Buccaneers do have to consider Caleb Downs, depending on how they attack free agency. If they fill the rest of their needs and they can truly take the BPA, best player available, Caleb Downs should be a part of that conversation. Now, we have 2 more day 1 safety prospects we were talking about, 2 more really good talents. So let's get there now. All right, next, Dylan Thieneman of Oregon comes out to 6 foot, 201 pounds. He had a 91 PFF grade in 2025, and he had a 90 PFF grade in 2023. There was a dip last year when he was at Purdue to 72 overall, but he's picked up his play, and he's one of the better safeties in the class in general. So let's go through my player notes I have for him here. So, Dylan Thieneman, he's a speedy, aggressive, and athletic safety. He ran a 4.35 40. A 4.35 40. He is blazing fast. That is the 4th fastest amongst all safety prospects and the 5th fastest amongst all defensive back prospects in this year's draft class who participated in the 40-yard dash. So he's the 4th fastest safety, and he's the 5th fastest overall defensive back. This was also the fastest defensive back class and safety class that's ever ran in the 40 at the combine. So this is a very fast safety class. Overall, the trend is guys are getting smaller at the position, but they're getting faster. So the NFL too, the defenses you're seeing this thing where you're going more nickel, you're going for more smaller players. You don't get that really big traditional inside linebacker or middle Mike linebacker anymore. Players are getting smaller, but they're faster. They can cover more range, or they can go sideline to sideline. And Dylan Thieneman, he's a good size overall, but he's really, really fast as well. So again, 6 foot, 201 is the official measurement here from the combine. I have here exceptional coverage skills and trust. You can trust him in the nickel, you can trust him in the box, or even alone in cover 1 as a deep safety. You can truly trust him to do whatever you need him to do. He has elite fluid hips and change of direction ability, and that was on full display at the combine when he was running through his drills. Good against the run and feels comfortable working near the line of scrimmage, but needs to improve on his pursuit angles at times when attacking the run. So I'm going to give you an example here, but pursuit angles, like I'm going to take this angle, I'm going to get to the running back, or I'm going to get to the receiver. Sometimes he overshoots it a little bit. We'll get to an example here. He had a rep versus Minnesota where they ran an end around with a wide receiver. Thieneman overshot the angle a bit to the outside, and the receiver cut back inside to attempt to avoid being touched. However, Thieneman quickly recovered and brought the ball carrier down with the help of his teammates. So you have this end around going on. He takes too much of the outside angle, outside leverage. The receiver just cuts back inside, and Dylan Thieneman, good bend, he has to come back around kind of like this and kind of get him with the help of the teammates. So just fixing up and cleaning up those pursuit angles. But that's something that's coachable. You can, and he's a high IQ guy also. So I don't see that being a problem, too big of a problem in the NFL. All right. So instinctive and high IQ football player, just like Caleb Downs, was a junior at Oregon, played his previous 2 years at Purdue, but transferred to Oregon after a 1-11 season. Both of his older brothers played safety at Purdue. So that was an interesting fun fact to figure out. He stated to Chris Sims and Mike Florio at the Combine that the standards and accountability level were different between the two programs. So at Purdue, he stated they were just trying to win games. And I'm sure he was pretty upset when his team comes out to 1-11, and he wants to play in a program where he can have more success. And he says at Oregon, it wasn't just trying to play to win games. The mindset was, we're going to win a national championship. And they didn't. But that's the mindset. It's basically championship or bust. He acknowledges that he wants to improve on his tackling. Thiedemann felt as if he tackles too high at times. He had a total of 40 collegiate missed tackles over the past 3 seasons and has shown improvement as a tackler. He had 15 missed tackles in 2024, and he brought that number down all the way to 9 missed tackles in 2025. You want to have 0 missed tackles in a perfect world, but you can see the improvement with Dylan Thiedemann. Wasn't used much as a DB blitzer, only has 5 pass rush reps in 2025, but I'm sure with his speed, his toughness, and athleticism, he can get to or affect the quarterback off of his spot at a good rate at the next level. So, again, didn't use him much as a DB blitzer. They moved him around a bit, but I think he's 4.35 speed. You can get around an offensive lineman. You can affect a quarterback. You can get him off his feet. You can move him around. I think he'll be an effective DB blitzer if they need him to, either if a team needs to come down from a safety position for free safety position, for example, or from the nickel position. If he's playing nickel, like a Cooper DeJean plays nickel at times, and he just comes in for the blitz, I think he will be a very hard guy to try to stop if he comes in on a effective blitz where you don't even expect him coming. He's coming with 4.35 speed, really fast guy. Can be plugged in right away at nickel, strong safety, or free safety, and likely develop into a high-quality starter for a defense for many years to come. So he's a part of our elite company average in one category, and that is coverage. So he has a 91.1 coverage grade in 2025, which is 4.3 points above the elite company average. And that 91.1 coverage grade is one of the best, I believe is second or third overall in this safety prospect class. Let's get to our third day one best fit. Next up, we got a Tampa kid, Emmanuel McNeil Warren from Toledo. Let's get into his player notes here that I have. But real quick, before we do that, when we look at last year, 2025, he had a 92 overall PFF grade. In 2024, 84 overall PFF grade. 2023, 87 overall PFF grade. A 92 overall coverage grade and a 40% completion percentage allowed. Comes from a smaller school. Toledo, of course, isn't Ohio State. It's not Oregon. It's not Georgia or Alabama or Washington. But it's still, he's playing football. And you want to draft guys who can play football. We saw Quinyon Mitchell, what is he now? All-pro quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles, come out of Toledo and have a lot of success in the NFL. So let's get into my notes for him here. So Tampa kid, as I mentioned, born in Tampa, Florida. He went to Armwood High School, and he finished up his high school years at Lakewood. So he's a Tampa kid. He's a bigger safety as well, 6'3", 201 pounds. I found this funny also. At the Combine, he had an interview a sit-down with Chris Sims, former Tampa Bay Buccaneers quarterback, and Mike Florio, and he said the guy who he desires to tackle the most in the NFL is Derrick Henry, the big running back Derrick Henry. He says he's gonna bring power to power when he sees Derrick Henry. So if that ever happens, if whatever team he's on, if they're playing the Baltimore Ravens, I want to watch that game because I want to see him bring power to power to see does he succeed against Derrick Henry. All right, so wanted to run under 4.5. He talked about that, but he ran a 4.52 official 40 time, which ranked him 13th out of 14 safety prospects, so second to last. 4.5 is still a pretty good speed overall. It's not like he's gonna be like he's like slow as molasses. He still has some speed to him. Impressive playmaking safety, one of the best coverage safeties in the entire draft class. He was a 3-year starter at Toledo and had an 83 plus overall PFF grade in each one of those years. Remember, we broke that down a few moments ago. He earned the highest coverage grade in this year's safety class, which is 92 overall for his coverage grade. So PFF has him as the best cover safety in the entire draft class in 2026. He's rangy. He can cover a lot of ground. Not the fastest guy, but he can move around. He's a bigger, high-waisted safety. Played against lesser talent at Toledo, but was a standout disruptor versus the pass and the run game. McNeil Warren is a complete safety and can do everything you want him to. He's an easy and clean mover is what I wrote down here. He lacks excellent high-end speed, but he does a tremendous job flipping his hips, putting his foot in the ground, and running on passes down the field, so you can keep up with guys. You don't earn a 92 overall coverage grade if you're slow and the guys are just flying past you. He can keep up with these guys. He has good technique. Talk about his technique. He's disciplined in his technique, only has one career penalty. I saw that. I was like, whoa, only one career penalty committed. So he's using his hands correctly. He's not causing, he's not having these late hits after the play, after the whistle. He's a disciplined safety. You can trust him. He's not going to blow you the game with a pass interference call, for example. He's a physical, hard-hitting tackler. He has a great knack. This is one of the big things right here. Has a great knack for knocking the ball loose with his peanut puncher. He just punches the ball out times or rips it out, but he does a really good job with that. McNeil Warren stated at the Combine that Toledo practiced the peanut punch every single day in practice. Every day they're out there, they're trying to punch the ball out, they're practicing on that, they're focusing on that, so they can create turnovers when the game comes. Talking about turnovers, he has tremendous ball production. 10 forced fumbles, 10 with that peanut punch, with the rip that he has. 10 forced fumbles, 5 interceptions, and 11 PBUs over the past 3 seasons. He's a high football IQ guy, high instinct guy, can play the run very, very well. He has nice patience and lateral movement ability and commitment to make the tackle. He let a few that I have here a bit negative. But again, like many of these defensive backs we're going to talk about here, the missed tackles is a bit of concern. Let a few too many tackles slip away from him. He had an 8.7 missed tackle rate that nearly doubled to 15.5 in 2025. So we're not seeing the progression that we should be seeing. We're seeing a little bit of a regression in terms of a missed tackle rate. He's a high character prospect, loves football, and states that he plays with a chip on his shoulder to prove that he's one of the best out there. He has excellent versatility as well as something with all the top 3 safeties in this year's draft class. Has played the majority of his snaps inside of the box, but can bounce back to deep free safety or can play inside. He can slide over at the slot position. I'm sure almost every defensive coordinator will love to have McNeil Warren, a big safety that can really move anywhere. You can put him at the slot. You have a really big nickel there as well. Again, the Buccaneers want to get bigger. He's a very good safety isn't the top priority, of course. Nowhere near the top priority for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But you want to be just in a position where you can drop the best player available. Depending on how the board falls or if you decide to trade back, whatever the situation is, you want to take the best player available, whether it's a safety or whatnot. BPA rules over anything. You don't want to force a need. You don't want to force a player just because it comes at a position need. You want to draft the best players available. That's a good mindset to have if you're a GM in the league, if you want to stick around for a long time. All right, so he meets our elite company average in 3 categories. The first one is coverage grade. He has a 92 overall coverage grade, the best in this safety class. That is 5.2 points above the elite company average. His run defense grade is 83.2. That's 3.2 points above the elite company average. And his completion percentage allowed, 40%. That's 15.5% better. 15.5. That's a huge chunk better than the elite company average. Emmanuel McNeil Warren might have not ran a 4.35 like Dylan Thieneman, but he is a very good safety prospect. That wraps up the day 1 prospects. Let's get now to our day 2 best fits at the safety position. If you want a playmaking safety, if you want a ball hawk, the next guy we're going to talk about, AJ Halsey, is that guy for you coming out of LSU. So I have here ball hawking safety with exceptional coverage skills. 3 interceptions in 2025, 89 overall coverage grade, and we'll talk about his playmaking ability, but high playmaking ability. He does a great job reading the quarterback's eyes. He's disciplined and sound in his technique. 0 penalties committed in 2025 and only 5 total throughout his collegiate career. His nickname, he had an interview with Connor Rogers of NFL Stock Exchange, just quite a few things. But at the Combine, he had an interview with him. I can't remember the co-host, but he stated his nickname is Mr. Give Me That. Give me the football. And he got that name in high school from one of his family members because he just kept making plays on the field. His size, he has nice size. He's 6 foot, 215 pounds. Good weight for a safety. He ran a 4.52 40 at the Combine. So like Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, not one of the fastest safeties that we're talking about here today, but he can play for you, and he has coverage skills, and he has ball hawking ability. This is something the Buccaneers wanted last year. They wanted ball hawks. Todd Bowles wanted ball hawks. This year they want to get a bit bigger, but AJ Halsey is a ball hawking safety they can get in day number 2. Halsey began his career at New Mexico, where he was a true freshman starter. Had a game as a freshman versus Fresno State where he had 15 solo tackles. He could be all around the field tackling for you. He transferred to Houston in 2023, and then he transferred to LSU in 2025, ultimately ending up in a big school where his play can shine more and he has a better chance to be drafted in the NFL. Very exceptional, experienced prospect, but still young. He turned 22 years old in January. He has played in 48 games and made 44 starts throughout his collegiate career, and has he played a total of 2,823 snaps in total. So you're getting an experienced safety, a guy who's seen a lot of football at 3 different schools, so having learned 3 different defensive schemes also, that is important to know as well. Great ball production, 1 forced fumble, 8 interceptions, 3 touchdowns, and 10 PBUs in the past 2 seasons alone. So again, 1 forced fumble, 8 interceptions, 3 touchdowns, 10 PBUs in the last 2 seasons. You don't get the name Mr. Give Me That if you can't take away the football, and he definitely can. Now, again, for a lot of these prospects, missed tackles is a big weakness for a lot of these guys, and it's the same thing for AJ Halsey. Halsey has increased his missed tackles in each of his last 3 seasons here. So each season in his career. So in 2022, he had 7 missed tackles. That number went up in 2023 to 11 missed tackles, a gain of +4 in missed tackles. That adds even further to 13 missed tackles in 2024 and went up again in 2025 to 16. So every year we're not seeing a progression, like he's getting better as a tackler. It keeps going, missing tackle rate keeps going up and up and up and up and up. That's a little bit of concern. 47 career missed tackles. You have to clean it up. But he can tackle overall. I know it sounds like, you're going against, what you just said, but if you watch his form, he can't tackle. I don't know exactly why these guys are getting away. He's just not covering them up correctly or something. I don't know, but they're just slipping out of his hands. Maybe he's taking the wrong angle. That could be a problem here, but don't confuse his missed tackles to an inability to tackle. Halsey had a 12 tackle game versus Vanderbilt in 2025 and could lower his shoulder at times to lay the hammer on ball carriers. He had a savvy high IQ rep versus Ole Miss where the wide receiver caught the pass. It was about 3 yards from the end zone. He was quickly about to score, and Halsey kept his eye on the ball while attempting to make the tackle and punched the ball out. That peanut punch that we talked about before. Peanut punched the ball out to force a turnover. He has 9 career touchdowns. That's very big. Again, Mr. Give Me That. And he has 9 touchdowns as a defender, as a defensive player. That's crazy. It's a wild stat for a defender. Really solid instincts and play recognition allows him to bait. His play recognition and instincts allows him to bait the quarterback at times and or jump the route and make a play on the ball. In 2025 offseason, Todd Bowles stated that he wanted ball hawks on this defense, and AJ Halsey is the definition of a ball hawk. You got to clean up the missed tackles, AJ Halsey. But he's making plays all around the field, and he's scoring touchdowns for you as well as a defender. He's more than serviceable against the run, but his best play comes as a coverage defender, would excel most likely as a free safety at the next level. So he meets our elite company average in 2 separate categories, coverage grade and interceptions. For interceptions, He equals the league company average of 3 interceptions in 2025. And in coverage grade, he has a coverage grade of 88.6, which is 1.8 points above the elite company average. That is AJ Halsey. Let's get to our next day 2 best fit. Next guy is Trading Stukes out of Arizona. Has a great story to him that we're going to get into here, but 4 interceptions in 2025, 6 forced incompletions, had a breakout 2025 season at Arizona, had a 90 overall PFF grade and a 90 coverage grade as well. Let's get into his stats here. So, elite speed plus size combination. So he has great speed, really good speed. We're going to get to his 40 number. A really good size. He's 6'1", 190 pounds. Can put on a little bit more weight, but 6'1", 190. He ran a 4.33 40. That is the 3rd fastest among all safety prospects and the 8th fastest among all 40 runners at any position. So the 8th fastest player who ran the 40 at this year's combine. I originally had him grouped with the cornerbacks, but it appears at the combine that he was designated as officially a safety. So PFF had him ranked as or listed as a corner. The reason is he played a lot of, he started off his career as a cornerback, but he played a lot of his time at the nickel position. So we're talking about a guy who has the majority of his reps at the nickel. So it starts his career off again as a cornerback. So he could really play in any position. He could play outside corner if you need him to, essentially, but his best spot is at the nickel. All right, so he has great, talking about the positional versatility, I wrote this down here. Great positional versatility, has played 943 career snaps at corner, 1,174 snaps at the nickel position, that's the most, and then a total of 503 snaps from the box or at free safety. So, again, the majority of his reps have come at the nickel position, but he can play outside corner for you if you need him to in a pinch. I wouldn't do that, but if you need him to play outside corner, he can. But you're likely going to draft Trading Stukes to be a nickel corner for you or a nickel back for you. And he can back up into strong safety or free safety if you need him to do that as well. So he has a track background, and that makes sense with his 4.33 speed. He's a track guy in high school. He went unrecruited out of high school for football, however. Stukes' dad's former defensive back coach got a job at Arizona as Arizona's defensive coordinator and offered Trading Stukes a walk-on spot at Arizona. He accepted it. He walked on. He wanted to earn a scholarship very quickly because his parents were paying out of pocket for his tuition and for his ability to play at Arizona to attend a school. So he didn't want his parents to pay for too long. He wanted to make sure that he solidifies a scholarship so he gets a free ride. He did that. Eventually, he earned a scholarship. He earned a starting role and was elected a team captain by his teammates. So you see this walk-on to starter to one of the stars on the defense for Arizona. He experienced much staffing turnover at Arizona. He had 3 different head coaches throughout his tenure at Arizona and 5 different defensive coordinators. So in a way, that is both a good thing and a bad thing, because when you have 3 different head coaches, but specifically 5 different defensive coordinators, you're learning 5 different defensive schemes. So you're learning all these schemes. You're learning basically year after year, you're learning a new defensive scheme. And that can help you as a rookie because you're coming in and you have to learn a brand new playbook. You're going to have to learn Todd Bowles' playbook that Yaya Diaby and a few players have talked about before is a little bit difficult to learn. And you have experience learning new playbooks. It's not like you have the same defensive coordinator in college for your 3 or 4 years. You come to the NFL and now you have to learn for the first time a brand new playbook. You have to learn how do I figure this all out? What does this verbiage mean? He knows how to, the curve for him, the learning curve is going to be pretty short because he's dealt with a lot of turnover at Arizona and played under a few different defensive philosophies and schemes as well. 5 interceptions over the past 2 seasons. Stukes had an 83.2 man coverage grade and an 89.5 zone coverage grade in 2025. He has solid anticipation and pre-snap awareness. Plays best as an off coverage assignment. So if you're going to have him, he's not going to be like a press man corner or press man nickel. He plays best in off coverage, whether that be man or zone. He can do it, but he's going to be a few yards back. He's a good run defender, processes quickly, and then comes in to attack the ball carrier without hesitation. He's a nice form tackler as well. Had some nice success as a DB blitzer in 2025. He had 2 sacks on 11 pass rush reps. So and his 11 pass rush reps, was able to get 2 sacks on the quarterback. Pretty good stuff there. He's competitive and he fights through blocks. Stukes has an impressive rep, or he had an impressive rep versus Baylor, where there was a short screen setup. Stukes ran downhill from his position, safety position in this play. He fought hard through the block, reached the ball carrier, and ripped the ball out of his hands to force the ball loose. The receiver ultimately was ruled down, but it was a tremendous play they had versus Baylor. Just shows no hesitation. He's going to run downhill. He's going to try to make a play. Will likely be a big nickel or a strong safety in the NFL. In the Buccaneers case, the Buccaneers, again, want to get bigger. You have a 6'1", 190-pound bigger nickel. We have Tyke Smith, and you would have Antoine Winfield Jr. in the defense backfield at the safety positions. And you could fully move Jacob Parrish to the outside corner if they were to get him in this scenario. All right, so elite company average in 2 different categories. He meets it. Coverage grade, he has a 90.4 coverage grade, which is 3.6 points above the elite company average. He's really good in his off-coverage assignments. And he had 4 interceptions in 2025, which is 1 interception more than the elite company average. Let's get to our next guy. The Buccaneers, again, want to get bigger. And Zyke Wheatley, our next prospect here, our final, day number 2, best fit at the safety position for the Buccaneers, is a very big safety prospect. The Buccaneers want to get bigger. Zyke Wheatley is very big. So, Zyke Wheatley out of Penn State, 6'3", 203 pounds. Now, he's very tall. He's a long, lengthy safety prospect. But he didn't jump a really good vertical at the combine. He jumped a 32.5-inch vertical, which ranked him last amongst all safety prospects who participated in the vertical jump, and second to last in terms of all defensive backs who jumped in the combine. So, not good leaping ability for a big corner or a big safety. We'll get to his position versatility. He did play corner before, but not the leaping ability that you would want at his Zyke Wheatley, but still pretty okay, good player. Claimed at the Senior Bowl that his biggest strong suit was his takeaway ability. Wheatley had only 1 interception in 2025, but he had 3 interceptions in 2024, so 4 total over the last 2 seasons. Wheatley also stated that any team that drafts him is getting a sideline-to-sideline defender that can make an impact on the play wherever the ball may be. Competitive, high-motor DB, I wrote down here. He had a nice one-handed interception versus Iowa week number 8 off a deflected pass. He brought in the interception. It was a really good highlight play. Not a flashy prospect, though, however, but he gets the job done. So you think about a guy like, for example, this year's draft class at the inside linebacker position, for example, C.J. Allen. C.J. Allen is not a flashy player, but he gets the job done. Sometimes, the flash, you can have nice flashy guys who are productive, but sometimes you have guys who are a little bit more boring to watch on film, but they get the job done. They do exactly what you need them to do, and that is the case for Zyke Wheatley. He's solid and physical versus the run. He has had an 82-plus overall run defense grade over the past 2 seasons where he's been a full-time starter. To me, his biggest strength comes in his work near the line of scrimmage, so inside the box, and his position versatility. So Wheatley began his college career as a cornerback his freshman year before transitioning to safety. So he's played outside corner. They moved him into safety. Wheatley acknowledges that his versatility is a strength of his at the combine. He stated at the combine, "I'm pretty versatile. In the NFL, you look for guys that can do multiple things." And again, Wheatley is a guy who can do multiple things. You don't want him to play outside corner at the NFL level, but just the fact that he can play if you really needed him to in an emergency, he can play anywhere essentially in the defensive backfield. That's really good to have in a player. One of Wheatley's weaknesses, however, again, is the tackling. The tackling for a lot of these guys is an issue. I don't know how they're teaching tackling at the college level, but it's not working for these safety prospects. The Penn State safety had a whopping 20 missed tackles, 20 in 2024. He brought that number down in 2025, but it was still a lot. 11 missed tackles in 2025. In total, 31 missed tackles throughout the past 2 years. One of the problems is with Zyke Wheatley, a lot of times he's running down to make the tackle on receivers. He'll kind of grab the receiver, kind of try to twirl around. He leaves his feet and he tries to twirl around the receiver, tries to bring him down that way. But by doing so, he leaves his feet. He loses his power, loses his balance and his leverage on the receiver. And the receiver sometimes gets away. So you just have to clean up his tackling, his form, because the way he's doing it, he's just running down, he's grabbing the receiver, it looks kind of wild, and he's kind of twirling around, hoping that he can twirl the receiver and bring him down. It's not going to work at the NFL level, especially against bigger guys or even slippery, smaller guys, but who have good quickness and like elusiveness. But he needs to clean up that tackling ability. All right, too often, I mentioned that one, but run defense grade, he was a part of our elite company average in terms of run defense grade, had an 82.7 run defense grade in 2025. That's 2.7 points above the elite company average. Now let's get to our day 3 best fits at the safety position. We have guys who, round 5, round 6, who could still be really serviceable depending on their development in the NFL, but we have a few guys who are going to be really good safeties at some point in the NFL if they get the opportunity. Let's talk about our day 3 best fits at the safety position. Next up, to kick off day number 3 best fits, Bud Clark out of TCU had 4 interceptions in 2025, 7 forced incompletions as well, had an 80 overall PFF grade, which dipped a little bit from 2024 where he had a 90 overall PFF grade. But he's a ball hawk. That's my first note for him here. 4 interceptions in 2025 and a total of 14 interceptions over the past 4 years. He plays the ball hard with his ball swatting skills, especially on deep passes, to tip the ball, force the incompletions, or produce turnovers. He had a 17.1 forced incompletion rate in 2025, which is the 4th highest amongst his safety class. He has exceptional speed for his position. He ran a 4.41 40, which is 7th fastest among all safety prospects who participated in the 40-yard dash at the combine. And again, this group of safeties is the fastest all time for any group of safeties at the scouting combine. Really fast guys. I have here, he played basketball also in high school, was ranked as the 15th best basketball player in Louisiana, best prospect coming out of high school, but decided not to go the basketball route because he was getting more recruitment hype from his football skills. So he was a 4-star safety, however, who received offers from LSU, Arizona, Ole Miss, Colorado with Deion Sanders, but he chose TCU as his college. Possesses great position versatility, ability. He played most of his time in the slot, but also has significant experience at strong safety, free safety, and also has a total of 32 career reps at outside corner. Again, you don't want him to play there, but he's a productive plug-and-play defensive back prospect. Will probably excel most at first, where he has the most experience, and that being inside at the nickel position, where he has a total of 1,220 snaps from that nickel position. Often looks very comfortable in calm and zone coverage. He possesses fluid hips in his back pedal. Stout against the run is another thing I have here. He's really good against the run, chooses the correct pursuit angles, has nice acceleration with that 4.41 speed, right? And has good stop and go ability, where you stop, you can see where the running back is going and continue, or wherever the ball carrier is going. Decent and more than willing tackler who can tackle in space. However, you would need to continue improving in this area. He had a 27.5 missed tackle rate in 2023. He did bring that down, though, over time. In 2025, he had a 15.3 missed tackle rate. Also needs to clean up his penalties and become more disciplined with his hand usage is something I have here. He committed 6 penalties in 2025. That's a lot. 6 penalties in 2025. That's a drive killer. That could be a game killer depending on the situation of the end of game situation. That 6 penalty season for him was a career high in terms of penalties. He's a part of our elite company average in 2 separate categories. His run defense skills, remember I said he was a stout run defender. He had an 83.1 run defense grade in 2025, which is 3.1 points above the elite company average. And he had 4 interceptions, which is 1 interception above the elite company average. Let's get to one of my favorite day 3 defensive back safety prospects for the Buccaneers, and that is going to be a safety prospect out of Texas. Let's get there now. As I alluded to, here comes one of my favorite day 3 safety prospects, and it is Michael Taft out of Texas, the Texas Longhorn safety. Came out officially after combine at 6 foot, 190 pounds, had 2 interceptions in 2025, an 88 overall PFF grade in 2025, 84 the year prior in 2024. Really solid over the past 2 seasons for the Texas Longhorns. Impressive tape. A tough prospect with strong upside potential. This is a guy who you can get possibly in the 5th round. He's a really good player. He can get late. This is a very deep safety class overall. He was born in Austin, Texas. He's a 5th generation Texas Longhorn. He was a walk-on at Texas in 2021, worked his way up to become a starter and made the PFF first team All-American in 2024. Experience. He was a 5th-year senior who played in 53 games and made a total of 36 starts that he has under his belt. A lot of playing time, a lot of experience for him. He's a vocal leader and was recognized as a team captain in 2025. Back-to-back seasons with an 88 plus overall PFF grade, an 80 overall PFF grade and an 89 plus coverage grade, was PFF's 14th highest ranked college safety in 2025 as well. He's an aggressive and physical safety, what I wrote down here. Taft experienced at the combine. Taft explained at the combine that he models his game after Falcon safety Jesse Bates, so NFC South rival for Bucs fans. Loves his instincts. He talked about when he's talking about Jesse Bates. Loves his instincts, loves his physicality, and he loves his ball hucking skills. He has nice ball production when we talk about turnovers. Nice ball production over the past 2 seasons. 4 interceptions and 7 pass breakups. That's good to see. He has improved as a tackler. He had a 20.6 missed tackle rate in 2024, and he brought that number down all the way to 9.3% in 2025. He was projected to be a possible second-round draft pick entering the season. Slid down. We have a very deep safety class, but he slid down overall to be a day 3 category type of guy, but you're getting still a very good safety prospect. Displays pretty good football speed. He ran a 4.5 40, decent time. He plays fast on the field. You can see his skills. He has great coverage skills when we're talking about skills. Great coverage skills and anticipation. Can play tight down the field. I have here again, the measurements were 6 foot 190. With the 190 weight, my thing is he needs to pick that weight up a little bit. I ideally want to be somewhere around 200 pounds, 205 pounds, if you can be around there. I think that's realistic. If the Buccaneers drafted Michael Taft, and by the time that the preseason comes around, he's somewhere around 200, 205 pounds, I think that would be pretty good for him. You notice that his frame is a bit thin on film. Again, he could put on muscle at the next level. He had a missed tackle against the running back versus Oklahoma, and it appeared his overall strength played a part, given that he attempted to make the tackle with proper form. So he tried to tackle the Oklahoma running back with proper form. Again, he's just 190 pounds. He has a little bit of a leaner frame. You want to pick up your weight. You want to pick up your muscle in the NFL. And I think with the right team, the right fitness coach, the right strength conditioning coach, he could easily get his weight up and his muscle up in the NFL. Position primarily back deep as a free safety, but Taft has the tool set to play in the nickel, strong safety, and in the box as well. So that's a common theme throughout all these guys. That's why I put them as best fits, because for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, essentially they don't need a starting free safety or strong safety, because they have, of course, Tyke Smith and Antoine Winfield Jr. But if you have a guy who can move around and can play in different positions, that's very appealing. He could be a proper depth piece as well. If you could draft him in the 5th round, where Antoine Winfield Jr. goes down, you can put him in. If Tyke Smith goes down, if Jacob Parrish goes down, he can play in the nickel. So you just want these guys who have extreme positional versatility. And if you see, that is a common theme for me. If I was a GM, I'm drafting a guy who can play in many different positions. He could be a free safety, strong safety, deep in the box, inside the box. He could play on the line of scrimmage in the slot. He can move around wherever you need him to. That is very appealing for a defensive coordinator and a defensive head coach like a Todd Bowles. He's part of our elite company average when it comes to our coverage grade. His coverage grade, he had an 89.4 coverage grade, was 2.6 points above the elite company average. Let's continue our day 3 guys. Next up, we have Bishop Fitzgerald out of USC. Has a really good story to himself. He's a little bit of a smaller statured defensive back prospect, but he had a really good season at USC. And he showed his ball hawking skills, his ball hawking ability. So I have here for my notes. Former high school quarterback, but only had D2 offers coming out of high school. So he decided to take the JUCO route. He took the JUCO route. He converted to defensive back. Fitzgerald claimed that the hardest part of making that transition from quarterback to defensive back was learning how to properly play man coverage and how to be physical as a defender, because he's never been the one that's getting hit. He's never been the one that's laying out the hit. He's always been the one as a quarterback who's getting hit. But now he has to be the one who has to be physical and hit the opposing offensive ball carrier. So just learning how to be physical, learning how to properly play man coverage was something that he had to get used to. His strength is his coverage skills. And maybe that experience as a quarterback has played a good part in his coverage ability, because he knows how quarterbacks want to attack certain schemes, and he knows how you can possibly hide your coverage looks to fool a quarterback, to bait a quarterback in to get the interception. So I think his high school quarterback years have really helped him as a defensive back in terms of his coverage skills overall in college. Will excel most at the free safety position. And talking about his size real quick. So he came out at the combine to 5'11", or his official measurements here is 5'11", 201 pounds. He earned a 90.7 overall PFF grade in 2025, which is 7th highest among all safeties in the nation. So he was ranked as PFF's 7th best safety in college in general in 2025. He had a 90.8 coverage grade, which is 3rd highest among all safeties that we're talking about here today. He caused 3 forced fumbles, 3 forced incompletions, and had 5 interceptions in 2025. 8 interceptions total over the past 2 seasons. You see that ball hawking ability. Decent straight line speed. He ran a 4.5540. He was actually last among all participating safeties, but still 4.55. It's not ideal, but Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, we talked about earlier, had a 4.5240. If you could play football, you could play football. He's not like running a 4.8 or 4.7. It's decent speed overall, 4.55. I feel like he looks, I wrote down here, I feel like he plays and looks a lot faster than 4.55 at times on his tape. He can make plays and displays physicality as a run defender near the line of scrimmage when he comes down into the box to attack the ball carrier. He had 9.5 tackles for loss over the past 2 seasons. He understands the importance of stopping the run and being more physical than the opponent to set the tone of the game. That's something he mentioned during his time at USC in his interviews with the press. Can square up his base and make an open field tackle. Only had 6 missed tackles in 2025. A slight improvement from 8 missed tackles in 2024. So he's been he's had some of the least amount of missed tackles out of all the prospects we talked to today, only 6 in 2025. Although Fitzgerald possesses good coverage skills, he surrendered a total of 8 touchdowns over the past 2 seasons. So you can't give up those touchdowns. You got to maintain. You got to make sure the ball carrier, the receiver, isn't beating you down the field. So overall, his coverage skills are really good. Just giving up a little bit too many touchdowns, and his missed tackle is good. But overall, allowing 8 touchdowns over the past 2 seasons, that is obviously one of his biggest weaknesses that we've seen so far in college. So he's a part of our elite company average when it comes to 2 separate categories: coverage grade and interceptions. His interceptions were 5 in 2025, 2 above the elite company average. And he had a coverage grade of 90.8, which is 4 full points above the elite company average. Let's get to our final day 3 best fit at the safety position. Lastly, we got Jalen Husky out of Maryland, 6'1", 196 pounds. He's a hard-hitting safety. He can lower down his shoulder and lay a nice hit, where I wrote down here. He lays a clean hit also on the ball carrier. So he kind of reminds me at times of like an old school hard-hitting defensive back, but you kind of can't survive if you're targeting above the neck, but he hits these receivers in a clean manner where he doesn't get penalized. He hits you like an old school safety. He reminds me of Jordan Whitehead in terms of his physicality. Jordan Whitehead would come down in his prime, would come down and lay a big hit on the receiver, the tight end, the running back, doesn't matter who you are. He would come in and kind of look like a G.I. Joe, built action figure, would just come in and lay a nice hit on the ball carrier. Again, good size and speed combination at 6'1", 196 pounds. Maryland kid who went to go play for his state college in Maryland. So he stayed inside of state. Maybe secretly he wants to be drafted by the Baltimore Ravens so he can continue to stay in Maryland. Very versatile, played primarily cornerback throughout his first 3 seasons in college and was moved to safety full-time for the first time in 2025. So he's a fresh safety prospect overall. Doesn't have much at the safety. He doesn't have much experience at safety, but he has a lot of experience playing, of course, in college, 4 years overall. 4 interceptions in 2025. But 3 of them were created on his own with great instincts and ball tracking. And one of them, the quarterback, I noticed the quarterback just threw it directly to Husky. 4 interceptions, but 3 are real ones. And one is just like right time, right place type of interception. Exceptional run defender. Had an 82.5 run defense grade in 2025. Solid read and react skills. Can sift through and travel well to get to the ball carrier. Can sift through a lot of traffic and get to the ball carrier and attempt to end the play. Would be a solid day 3 or possibly an undrafted free agent pickup to round out the depth in the safety room with J.J. Roberts and possibly if you re-sign Christian Izien as well. So we're looking at possibly like a guy like 7th round or an undrafted free agent, most likely. Elite company in 2 separate categories. Run defense grade, 82.5 run defense grade, which is 2.5 points above the elite company average. And his interceptions were 1 point above the elite company average. So those are the best fits at the safety position, in my opinion, and my favorite day 1, day 2, day 3 safeties for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Again, safety is not a top need, but if the Buccaneers fill these needs that they have at the edge rush position, inside linebacker, possibly on the defense, interior defense line as well, in free agency, via trade, via whichever means they want to, I mean, if you fill your needs, when it comes your pick number 15th, you have the ability to pick the best player available. If a Caleb Downs falls to you, and depending on what the rest of the board looks like, I think you really have to strongly consider it, or a Dylan Thieneman if you trade back a little bit maybe, or Emmanuel McNeil Warren also. So I'm not saying I'm not fully on board of drafting a safety overall with the 15th overall selection, but depending on how the board falls, you always want to be in position where you can draft the best player available. And if the best player available fits a position also of need, that's an extra added bonus. But you want to draft the best players available. That is a great mindset to have if you're a general manager. If you want to last in the NFL, draft the best players available. Don't look at the position, just look at the player. Best players available. Now, of course, if you have like Tom Brady as your quarterback, you don't want to draft a first round quarterback, because he's not going to see the field, of course, so it has to be a smart move at the same time. But thank you guys so much for watching this episode. If you have not done so already, please like and subscribe and share this content with more great Buccaneers fans like yourself. When you do that, we get this out there. We make Fear the Bay a bigger household name in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers media market. That's all I have for you guys here today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I am your host, Daniel Morales, signing out. Bye-bye.